Hi, so today I want to show you how to use resizing in Sketch. So resizing basically is if you create any sort of layer, and then you could, if you had to say like another layer inside of that, let's just add like a little circle, right? And we will group these layers together. What resizing does, it's this little area in here in your properties panel has two main components. These are your anchors and these are your fixed toggles, right? So if we come down here, I've assorted a few different examples on how this works. So here we have no resize settings, so I haven't done anything. I haven't selected anything in there. I've added these little squares on the corners, and now what you'll see is once I start moving it, everything gets distorted. So it gets the actual squares gets distorted, the spacing on these edges get distorted, which sometimes is actually what you want. In this one over here, what I did was I made a fixed width on the top and a fixed height on the bottom. And what you'll see that happens here is as I start moving, the ones on the top have a fixed width. But you'll also notice that the spacing on the side isn't persisting, so it's going off of the parent container. And if I go up and down, then the opposite happens. The bottom stays consistent, the top adjusts. All right, over here on the bottom, I set anchor points. So I've set these anchor points to the corners. So I clicked on the top and the right over here, and then did the bottom right, bottom left, top left. And what happens here is now you'll notice that the insides start to shrink. However, we're maintaining this area on the side, this spacing on the side. And then lastly, over here I am doing both width and anchors. So I have anchors on the side and I'm maintaining this width. So here when I start to move it, you'll notice everything stays consistent. So none of these are wrong. It all depends on what you're trying to do, right? So as an example, here's a pretty, you may run into you may have to do something like this at some point, right? You want to be able to have a search box inside of a header, little X and the arrow on the left, and then you have this text on the right. So the way this would work is you'd want to be able to move this back and forth, right? You want these things on the corners, these icons, to sort of pin and stick to the right. You want this top bar to stay in one place, right? So stick to the top. And you want to be able to, you want this text to move. So I'll show you what it looks like right now, and then we're going to rebuild it. So here, if I move this, you'll see that the text, it's almost like responsive, right? Right. So that the search is moving, the icons are pinned, and it's acting really, really nicely. So to do this is basically using what we did there. So what we'll do is we'll just go in here and we'll just grab a rectangle, use rectangle. All right, I grab two rectangles. Okay, so we'll start off with that. So step one, let's make this stick, right? So let's first thing we'll do is we'll group this. That's Command G, right? So if I start to move this up, it's actually it's already has something in there. All right, let's look to see. So we have this bottom one. I have an anchor of the top. If I didn't have the anchor of the top, and I don't have the anchor of the top here, what would happen is it would squish. See that? You don't want that. All right, so we want to add anchor to the top, anchor to the top, and also on the top here we have fixed width, right? Because we want this to persist. Next thing we want to do is we want to add these two icons, right? So just paste this and we're going to add them into here. Okay, so we added them into this group, and let's see what we have going on here. So in this icon, right, we have it pinned. We have fixed. We don't want this. So let's just take all this stuff off first, right? So we're gonna look at what this arrow, how this arrow interacts, and then how this close button interacts. The close button has fixed properties on and is pinned to the top right. So now if I were to move this, that arrow is getting squished, but the X is working nice. Okay, so let's do the same thing to this arrow now. So we're going to pin it to the top left and then fix the properties and done. Okay, so now when I move it, everything looks great. Okay, next thing we want to do, we want to let's add some content. Right? So we're going to add here, with a nice big text box, right to the bottom, just like that, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to craft, click on article, just advertise. You have to actually click on that and then hit article, advertising. Okay, and what we want to do is just have this. It's a long one. I'm going to move this all the way up so it gets to the bottom. Okay, so that's what we want to happen there, but let's see how that works right now. So if I move this, oh, not bad. See? It worked right out of the bat. Okay, great. So we have that. Next thing that we want to do is we want to have our search box. So in order to do that, you want to come in here and just make a little box. And we want that little box to be, let's take the border out and we'll make it white. Okay, and let's see how that looks so far. So that's looking almost right, but you see how it's getting, it's actually, this area here is squishing, so let's pin those. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pin the left, pin the right, and also pin the top. Right, and then what we probably want this to fix the height too, right? Because when I start moving it up and down, I don't want this to get larger. So let's fix the height too. And now, if we were to test that, that looks just about right. And the last thing, so we make it look just like, just like the one on the left, we just wanted to add a little search text there. So to do that, let's go here, let's say, search. Okay, and we're going to add this into this group. Right? We change this to say light italic, and we're going to have to, I don't want this to move around, I want this to stick right here. So pin to left, pin to right, and you can stretch this out here if you'd like. And that should, let's see, let's test this out. Let's go out. So if I move this around, that works nice. Oh, actually, if you notice, now that I'm going a little closer, these, you might want to keep some padding here. So that looks like it's moving. So what we do here, let's go to this text box, click into it, and then just add the left, right, and top. Okay, and that should be perfect. Let's see, there we go. See, now it's maintaining that margin there, and if I go up and down, that should maintain everything. So that's it. That's how you make a nice little panel using these resizing features. All right.